Hello, this is the day after we arrived back in Wisconsin after our big journey. I thought that it would be a good idea, seeing we're unpacking, to have a look at our stuff and see what worked and what didn't work. So here is most of the stuff from the back of the car. Firstly, we have the Road Pro refrigerator. I think this works very well. We could unplug it from the car and take it directly into a hotel, empty the contents into a refrigerator, meaning that we were able to keep things cold. If we had leftovers from an evening meal, we could pinch yogurts from hotels.
We did a lot of that.
Yes.
We highly recommend this. It's very good.
Next was the portable stove, also by Road Pro. This was quite useful for heating up things that weren't very nice. We had to put foil in because it would burn the bottom of whatever you were heating and not cook the top. We eventually used it to fry, and that's why it got permanently stained like this. But this was pretty good. It's slow, but it worked.
One thing we don't have anymore is the portable kettle. That was okay. It was also slow, but it got quite a lot of buildup of things like limescale, and eventually it stopped working. Maybe we should have cleaned it, but either way, we didn't actually use it as much. It was sufficiently slow that it was just faster to buy tea.
Not that it's easy to buy tea in the United States of America, because they don't really put boiling water on. They just give you some hot water that makes some sort of brown drink. I would recommend getting a normal kettle. You can get them in charity shops, boiling up some tea at the beginning of the day and putting it in a flask. Next is the Shoemaker 15 amp inverter. So this is to use car products in the room. That worked. We used it mainly at the end for the portable stove. So next is the Scuba cable tidy. Now this went reasonably well, but it turned out that I didn't really have a lot of time to do much on the trip other than use the HDMI cable for plugging into hotel televisions. I think this is quite good, actually, as a product. I'll probably use it more when we settle down. We got an old laptop bag to be our tech bag. I called it Tech Bag Alpha. There wasn't a beta or any more, but I just liked that. So we bought ourselves a screwdriver kit. That was okay. Our laptop started falling apart towards the end. What else did we get? We bought a VGA cable for older model televisions. This was a remote keyboard and mouse. I think I might have used it once or twice. It was alright. I bought a terrible games machine for $10. My Arcade by Dream Gear.
These we used a lot. These are Rokinos.
Portable lithium battery powered speakers.
And we used those whenever we didn't have a proper television hookup, and then we hooked them up to the laptop so we could watch Star Trek Next Gen.
We ended up not using the Kobo.
We didn't really have time to read. I read about 2 books the whole trip.
I didn't need a portable switch. Occasionally we would check whether the temperature on the heater matched the actual temperature, but that wasn't as fun as you'd think it was. This was useful. Leatherman, just general tool, really useful. Where did we get this bag?
We got this bag from Jay in North Carolina. This was our shoe bag. It's very good because it could just be stuffed on top. This was our waterproof swim bag, since we did a lot of swimming. That was also very good, so thanks, Jay.
We bought some new stuff as well from Goodwill. Saucepan.
Single burner, very useful for cooking in rooms.
I think it was about $7 or something. Didn't end up using these things. I thought we would, but you can't really predict. This torch that I got free from HP, we didn't end up using this until the day we came back. This was basically a bag of bags. We recommend bags of bags. This wash bag was useful because it unravelled and hooked onto most luggage trolleys.
Also, it was useful because it could hold bigger products, since of course travelling for nearly 5 months we didn't want lots of minis. So these were giant garbage bags, which were actually very useful for doing our laundry, since we didn't really have a laundry basket. They were very cheap and disposable, so I recommend travelling with these if you're going for a while.
And we had paper plates, cutlery, all sorts of disposable things. They were very useful.
And if you do get a Road Pro, these disposable foil cooker packets are very useful as well. We went through several of these.
We also use these. They're like giant Ziploc bags. We got them from Jay in North Carolina. You can store your dirty clothes in them and squeeze all of the air out and then do them up, so they actually take up less room in the suitcase than fresh clothes. So this is an AeroPress and it makes pretty good coffee. We used it in England and we thought we'd need one here, but it was just too much of a pain and I just got used to the terrible coffee that is served in every single Super 8.
So the whole time we were gone, we only needed this much washing up liquid. So do take liquid with you, but you don't need very much because we had lots of things that were disposable or semi-disposable. For instance, you can get about 3 of these at Walmart for about that many dollars. Once they started to get a bit iffy, we just got some more.
These were useful for chopping.
And this was useful for protecting us from this cheap knife.
The laptops survived. They're on their knees, they're nearly full up and all the power saving stuff is going wrong, but they survived. These are the machines we did all of the video editing on, so they did really well.
So thanks, Toshiba.
About a quarter of the way through the trip, we swapped our large suitcase for smaller suitcases. This was a very good idea because we ended up getting more stuff and we wouldn't have been able to carry that amount of stuff. I think generally it's better to have smaller containers than larger containers.
Yes, I would say this suitcase is intended for flight. If you just want to travel around in a car, get 3 of these.
The clothes, after 4.5 months of going through motel washing machines and dryers, is now faded and threadbare. A very important tool was the selfie stick. Most of the filming was done on my phone, which is an iPhone 6, apart from the videos in the car of me, which was done on the Galaxy S6. One of the issues we had is that the Galaxy S6's microphone is much more sensitive, so the clips shot in the car were much louder than the clips shot outside. An advantage of the Galaxy is that you can change the resolution of the camera, whereas on the iPhone you just have to put up with whatever resolution the camera is. It means that video editing takes much more computing power and the videos take up much more space.
Another problem with videos being too big is we had to deal with hotel internet, which is generally abysmal. If we did things with the forward-facing iPhone 6 camera, it would take forever to upload a single clip.
So the first selfie stick sort of died, but this one was actually much better built than the one I'm using at the moment. This is an M-Power. It was very good. One of the problems with selfie sticks is that they rely on Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is a terrible protocol that keeps dropping out. I've tried it on various devices, and it's not that reliable, especially when you're taking your phone in and out of a car and in and out of a Bluetooth-enabled selfie stick. And the other thing is that the button on the selfie stick, it isn't sophisticated, it just increases the volume, which is interpreted by the camera app as taking a picture. So what it doesn't do is anything more sophisticated, which I would love for it to have been able to switch between photo and video and between the main camera and the selfie camera, but it just didn't have any of those features. Maybe there is a product that does that, but it was quite fiddly moving between iPhone camera features. Also, I don't think this stick is quite long enough. I think there are ones that are much longer, and I'd probably get one of those next time. We bought some Velcro. Was this useful?
We used a little bit of it in the interior when we tried to use the kettle at the beginning. It did work for that, but that said, then we got sick of the kettle, so... But it's probably still a good, cheap thing to carry around.
If you let the glue settle properly, it means that you can stop things rolling around the boot. So this is another inverter converting from the 12 volt DC to 110 volt AC. We used this a couple of times when we wanted to charge the laptop in the back of the car so it wasn't visible. So we have the tape measure, the extender, gloves, more gloves, fuses. We didn't need these. It doesn't mean they're not useful. It just means that the car was reliable. Scissors, useful. So if you buy new clothes, you can cut the tags out and various other things. Clothes hangers.
Useful because hotels don't always allow you to move their hangers. They'll often have it that they can only go off of a specific rail.
Yeah, so we have some windscreen wash and a sponge, which is occasionally useful, especially if you're driving through a state like Wyoming, where there are a billion flies. This was an extension from the battery, and this was useful when we were charging the laptop. A tarpaulin, which was sometimes useful if you want to sit out or put something out in the when the ground's muddy. This portable seat. Occasionally we had to queue. This was quite good. A bin in the car. If you want to throw things away, this is a really good idea. It was Jess's sister who suggested this. If you're eating or drinking things in the car, you have somewhere to put the rubbish. We were given an air mattress by a New Zealand couple in Arizona, and we never used it, but it looks like it might be useful. We always managed to find a hotel room in the evening, so we didn't actually have to sleep out in the forest. These metal hooks we used to augment the luggage trolleys so that they had more places to hang bags. And last but not least, the Dodge Charger 2014 SXT. This was an amazing piece of equipment. It didn't go wrong. It had some oil changes, but apart from that, we just put some petrol in it and it went. Lots of people asked us about, oh, why didn't you go in an RV? And this car has been on salt flats, gone up mountains, and has driven on the beach and all sorts of things. So we probably would have sunk or broken down if we hadn't gone in this. It was quick enough to drive very quickly away from the state welcome signs. It was really good. I really like this car. I like that it's called a Dodge Charger because Dodge sounds a bit dodgy and Charge sounds a bit sort of muscly. But yeah, it was great. Because the car was new, it meant that the minor things that did happen, mainly oil and tyre pressure issues, were resolved for nothing. Actually, it's better than for nothing, because if you go into a Dodge dealership, they'll give you free biscuits and coffee.